Has the Liverpool board already found a replacement for Árne Slót? Who is the main candidate for the manager job of the Merseysiders? Several Premier League heavyweights are ready to pay 70 million for Níco Willíams. Vinícíus Júnior has finally decided his future, and his decision will surprise many supporters. Barcelona goes on the hunt for a key Chelsea winger. Who exactly do they want to snatch from Stamford Bridge? We're covering all that and more in today's video. Guys, let's try and hit 350 thumbs up on this one. Your support helps us make even better content for you. Let's get right into the latest transfer gossip. Liverpool is currently going through a spell that is best not watched without a sedative. In the last round, the team managed to get thrashed at home by a crisis-hit Nottingham Forest, who were in the relegation zone. This defeat was already the 6th in the last 7 matches. The champion of last season, a club that dumped nearly 500 million into transfers this summer, has suddenly taken up residence in the bottom half of the table and is handing out points to underdogs in bundles, statistics that simply blow your mind. After this, Árne Slót found himself under wild pressure. The football community has split. I am, of course, not under such pressure as Slót, but when I see that half the audience watches regularly and yet is not subscribed, something inside dies. So if you are from this category of ghost viewers, do a good deed and press the button. I cannot help Slót, but you can help me. Some demand to immediately throw the Dutchman overboard to somehow save the season. Others persuade not to panic and to give time. But the problem is that the numbers and the picture on the pitch say roughly the same thing here: everything is bad, not by accident. In attack, Liverpool is still holding on somehow. By created moments and XG, the team looks decent and regularly organizes enough chances to score. With finishing, clearly everything is much sadder, but at least an attacking structure exists. But the defense is the main problem at the moment. Konaté is having a fierce slump. He has simply crumbled. Van Dijk in this system positionally does not understand what to do at all, and looks like a stranger in the center of defense. Kerkez has settled so successfully into the squad that he is already being pressured by 31-year-old Robertson. On the right flank, Szoboszlai is forced to play, who is actually a midfielder and not a fullback. And Slót simply does not know how to get everything back on track. The credit of trust is melting with every game, and if it goes on like this, the question of the sack is only a question of time. The Liverpool board sees perfectly well what is happening and has already prepared for the most radical scenario. According to the portal Liverpool World, the Scousers have a shortlist ready of 3 managers who can replace Slót. And yes, one of them is Jurgen Klopp. Under him, Liverpool lived through one of the best periods in its history, winning the Premier League and the Champions League. Even his own decision to leave the club did not spoil the attitude towards him. Klopp's name on the list is a signal that the club is ready to consider absolutely everything, right up to an attempt to bring back the man symbol. The second candidate is Andoni Iraola from Bournemouth. At Liverpool, they look with great respect at what he is doing with such a modest club as the Cherries. The Spaniard is building a competitive team in not rich conditions, and this really appeals to people at Anfield. The problem is only one thing. Iraola is admired not only there, they will have to fight for him. The third option is Oliver Glasner. Liverpool had more than enough time to feel his level. This season, the teams met 3 times in different tournaments, and all 3 times Glasner's teams took the victory. A personal dossier is better than any recommendations. Overall, the shortlist for Liverpool is serious, as all 3 managers are worthy of attention. The question is only whether it will come to the emergency plan or if Slót will still manage to sort out this circus in defense and stop gifting victories to outsiders. For now, answers are given only by results, and they are, to put it mildly, not in his favor. Barcelona again goes along a familiar path. They want a star in attack, but the wallet whispers, "Let us do it later." At this time in focus is Pedro Neto, who, according to data from Spanish media, became one of the key names in Deco's plans to reinforce the attack. The sporting director of Barca sees in Neto exactly that profile, which is critically missing for the Catalans. The Portuguese is conducting an outstanding season for Chelsea in the Prem. Dribbling, tactical flexibility, playing on the flanks, and in the center, the full set. Barcelona has long lacked exactly dynamics and diversity of solutions in attack, and Neto ideally fits into this task. He is capable of playing in several positions and giving an effect here and now, and not in a couple of years. In the coaching staff of Barca, they especially value his universality. Neto feels comfortable on both wings and in the center of the attack. At that, he not only beats players one-on-one, but also fits into more complex tactical schemes. For a club that is tired of listening to criticism for the predictability of the attack, such a player looks like a direct answer to the request. But then turns on the harsh reality by the name of Chelsea. In London, they consider Neto a key part of the project of Enzo Maresca. He is important both for high pressing and for fast transitions to attack. Therefore, to let the Portuguese go there, they are ready only for truly huge money speech is about a sum of more than 80 million euros. And right here begin the problems of Barca. Such a price is now frankly not affordable for the Catalans. Such a transfer is possible only in the case of the sale of important players or serious financial restructuring. That is theoretically yes, practically very unlikely. Financial restrictions, as before, rigidly tie the hands of the club and turn any large transfer into a puzzle. Nevertheless, the interest of Barcelona is absolutely real. In the club, they are sure that Neto ideally suits their attacking project and can at once give the needed impulse up front. He is just from that category of players who are capable of breaking predictability and adding sharpness in the last third of the field. The Catalans will continue to closely follow his development. Deco openly considers Neto a footballer of the highest level. But between admiration and a real transfer now lies an abyss of 80 million, and the position of Chelsea, who generally does not burn with desire to sell a key player. The outcome is simple. By playing qualities, Pedro Neto is the ideal option for Barca. By money, he is an almost ideal way to finally kill the club budget. For now, the financial side confidently wins over sporting logic. Mikel Arteta has seriously aimed at Murillo from Nottingham Forest, but as usually happens, the line for the Brazilian has already formed. And in it is not only Arsenal but also Chelsea, and somewhere close by Liverpool breathes down their back. In general, a normal day on the Premier League market. Murillo has long attracted the notice of top clubs, a rare blend of physique and technique plus the skill to progress with the ball through midfield. It is this progressive style, according to Caught Offside, that especially hooked Arteta. Arsenal is ready to activate the hunt for the 23-year-old centre-back because a player of such a profile fits ideally into their model of playing out of defense. But there is one nuance: the price tag. Nottingham Forest wants for him around 80 to 90 million euros. Given that the club itself took him from Corinthians for just 12 million, business as it is, the estimated cost now is about 65 million, but the club understands interest is so high that a record transfer already looks not like madness but reality. Forest resists to the very last. The club is extremely reluctant to part with the Brazilian, but is expected to hear out offers if sums get close to the requested range. Moreover, last summer they already rejected interest for Murillo, and this only strengthened their negotiating position since they refused. Then it means now they will sell even dearer. At the same time, Murillo already managed to recommend himself as one of the best central defenders of the Premier League. In the summer, Nottingham Forest worked perfectly. They kept both Murillo and Morgan Gibbs-White, signing new contracts with them. To save exactly the Brazilian defender was critically important on him. Right now, the whole line of defense is tied. Now to the rivals. Chelsea shows serious interest and is ready to invest largely if Murillo really turns up on the market. A winter transfer looks unlikely, but by summer the Blues will almost certainly fly into the fight. The logic is clear. Enzo Maresca loves center-backs who know how to begin attacks and carry the ball forward in a system where possession is sacred. Arsenal is also in the deal. Arteta has long watched the growth of Murillo in Forest and clearly views him as a boost for his team. But here there is one moment the Gunners have no clear deficit in the center of defense. Moreover, the club recently signed Piero Hincapié, yet another left-footed central defender. If after this Arsenal again goes for a left-footed center-back, skepticism will be actually logical. Liverpool also switched into the fight for the player. The Merseysiders have a rebuild of defense brewing against the backdrop of the uncertain future of Konate and Van Dijk. For them, signing a top center-back is a priority of the next transfer windows, and they are ready to compete for Murillo. A separate story is Barcelona. The Catalans are also ascribed interest, but with their financial limits, to pay 80 million now is from the series of dreams and pictures on Twitter. In fact, the battle for Murillo will unfold between the clubs of the Premier League which can afford such a check. Summing up, Murillo has grown to the status of a defender around whom can spin a record transfer. Nottingham Forest holds on to the last, but as his reputation grows, the scenario with a huge sum and a battle of top clubs looks not simply possible but practically inevitable. The question is not who watches him, but who will be the first to risk paying in full. 70 million euros. That is exactly how much Tottenham and Chelsea are ready to splash out on the table for Níco Willíams. Can the London Giants twist Athletic Bilbao's arm for a transfer? The Spaniard is undoubtedly one of the best attacking assets in La Liga right now, and for both clubs, this would be a massive boost. But let's face facts here. The transfer fee alone is not enough. According to Spanish outlet Fichajes, the Prem clubs are ready for extreme measures, tripling the player's wages just to convince him to move to England. You understand yourself? That is a heavy argument. Why do they need him? It is simple. Both teams are having wild difficulties creating chances in the attacking third. Possession is there, but the cutting edge is missing. Having Willíams is the ideal solution to the problem. The lad knows not just how to run down the flank, he really beats defenders, creates chances for teammates, and can finish episodes himself. Last season, he had 18 goal contributions. Nico is still quite young at 23, and with proper coaching work, he will get even better. Skeptics will say 70 million is too much, but it is an investment. In the future, he can fully justify this outlay and be worth much more. Now, it is a question for the player himself. Nico clearly wants to go to a top club capable of fighting for big trophies, not just stewing in the middle of the table. A move to the Prem is a chance to play next to top-level footballers, which will speed up his growth. Athletic, with all respect, is unlikely to provide a platform for regular fights for main trophies. Now about Chelsea. The Blues have been working on the deal for weeks and are sure they will see it through. They identified the 23-year-old winger as a key target, although serious competition is expected. You ask, why do they need another attacker? Maresca has a wide choice already, and the club lately is just obsessed with buying all young strikers with high potential. There are doubts about how necessary this buy is, but Willíams proved with his game in Spain and Europe over the last 3 seasons that he is the real deal. It is reported he can push Gittins out of the starting lineup at left wing. Apparently, current options do not fully suit Maresca, but here Tottenham bursts in. Spurs went and matched the offer of the West London club. Now the Spaniard's future at Athletic is reportedly open as never before. So the fight is serious. The Spanish player can have a truly transformative impact on either team. It remains only to wait who will be more convincing and where this talent ends up. Both clubs hoping to fight for trophies need exactly such top-level players. Looking to next summer, Real has one main task: to renew the contract with Vinícíus. It is not the transfer market, not another Galactico, but exactly a contract with the man already called part of the team's DNA. And the problem is that time is ticking on. The Brazilian's current deal runs out in 2027. That is to say, very soon he enters the final contract year, and that is already territory for nervous rumors and daily headlines in the press. In the summer, Real and Vinícius's agents already sat at the table for talks, but it all ended in nothing. The club was not ready to meet the financial requests of the player. The process simply stalled for several months. Technically, one could shout that the forward's future in Madrid is in question, but inside Real they view this drama much more calmly. According to Diario AS, the sides are sure the contract will be signed anyway, and negotiations now are on the right track. Vinícius is happy with life in Madrid, sees himself in the team for years to come, and even the recent conflict with Xabi Alonso does not push him off this course. Yes, the coach publicly criticized him, put him on the bench, and regularly reminded him that in his team there are no untouchables, even with such status. But the forward circle already let it be known these frictions will not affect the new contract signing. Friends, let's take a short pause so you can put a like or dislike on this video. Any reaction is important. Thank you for the activity, it really helps the channel work. Important point: Real still values Vinícius very highly. Bursts of emotion in El Clasico did not become a red flag for the leadership. He is still viewed as a legacy player. In Madrid, they would only be glad if he signed a new deal as soon as possible, which further strengthens the feeling that renewal is a matter of time. As for money, now Vinícius earns about 17 million euros net per year counting bonuses. Exact figures of the new contract are not revealed, but the logic is simple. The future deal must fix him as one of the key players of the team. Roughly speaking, the status is there, salary will follow. However, the current season for Vinícius is going mixedly. His displays are far from ideal, and his role in the team noticeably changed after Alonso arrived. Real remains one of the strongest teams, but the focus of attention in attack is now on Mbappé. Best chances are created for him, the attack is built for him. Vinícius was given added defensive work and rigidly fixed on the left flank, taking away that freedom of movement thanks to which he used to constantly end up in the epicenter of attacks. And yet, despite this transformation of role, Real initially planned to renew the contract, which expires in 2027. The club has no doubt that the agreement will be finalized no later than next summer. Vinícíus himself is now fully focused on the game. He wants to get to his best level as fast as possible, and already at the end of the season, almost certainly, will close the renewal topic. Insiders in the club already call the future deal practically closed. When the signature is put down, many months of speculation will end, and Real will get what it needs: a guarantee that one of the main symbols of the current team will stay at the Santiago Bernabéu in the foreseeable future.